Okay. Okay, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Thank you everyone for joining us online for the scrutiny inquiry panel into community assets. Could I take any apologies for absence, please?
Not aware of any apologies for absence myself, Chair.
Okay. Are there any declarations of interest? None. Okay. So if we go on to the minutes, you'll see that they're over 2 pages. Is anybody happy to propose those?
Yes, I can propose those. Yeah.
Okay. Brilliant. Okay, thank you. So if we move then down to, there's a prohibition of whip votes in this, just to note that. And I believe then it takes us down to the main item then.
Public questions, Chair. Public questions, just to acknowledge that there were none. There were none submitted in advance.
Okay, brilliant. Thanks, Bridge. So if we go down to the main item, it's divided into 2 bits. The first bit is about the responses that we've received from some of the contributors. And you've probably seen the 2 emails which were attached to the papers that went out. They mainly focus on 2 main areas. I would say that the first one really is about the clarity of the policy and its breadth, in the sense of what it could and couldn't include. And I believe really one of the main things was looking at buildings, not as a continuation of how they're used, but how they could be used potentially differently. And in the circumstance of the people that sort of brought it forward, I think they were looking at using it as probably collaborative or co-housing. And they were also then asking about the length of tenure, because we've provisionally put 25 years as a maximum unless there's exceptional circumstances. Personally, I don't think, has Adrian Lester joined us, Bridge? Is he on the call?
No, Chair.
No, okay. I think taking those points on board, if we look at the draft as the report is now in recommendation 1, it says about what our first recommendations is about looking and reviewing the scope of the policy and its overall purpose, which I think captures both of the respondents' points there. And the second one is about 25 years. And I personally think that that's also captured in recommendation 5, where it talks about 25 maximum 10 years unless it's exceptional circumstances. So in a sense, as a committee, we're probably saying, well, if the council does amend its policy or looks to add those kinds of things in the future, then this would be an exceptional circumstance, perhaps, and that's probably where I would put it. And so I think we've probably covered most of those points within the report. How does the other panel members feel about that? Do you think that's an accurate summary of response to it?
I think that's fair. Yeah.
Okay, great. So then if we move on to B, which is the report itself, and if I invite the 2 cabinet members, if they've got any comments or anything they'd like to say about the report itself at this stage. I know it's not a stage where we're asking or seeking to approve the report, but if there's any sort of comments they feel are really useful at this stage of the inquiry to mention before the report's finalised, then there's a good opportunity for either Councillor Francis Davis or Councillor Hopkins to chip in and to say something on that.
Well, if I can kick off, just thank you, Stuart, for and the committee for choosing this as an item to look at. There's been a lot more interest in community asset transfers, so I think it's good that you've looked at this. And I notice there's 14 recommendations. I'm not going to go through all those now, but I'm sure that myself and the deputy leader, David Hopkins, will go away, look at this and work with officers to see the merits of it and where we can try and implement it where we think it is the right thing to do. So, but thanks everybody for the amount of work. Both David and I have attended several meetings with you and acknowledge the thorough way in which you've gone about it, and also the officers that have given their time up. So just to say thank you very much.
But I just come in and particularly add to that to say, look, I think you've really carried out this scrutiny inquiry panel with due diligence. You looked at it very in depth, and I can see out to the 14 recommendations. I think there are some reasonable asks throughout that. And I think what we need to do is take them away, look at them in depth, and give that formal thing. But as this is a draft meeting, I'm more than happy to look at to say really well done, as Councillor Robert Francis David has said, and also to the people who's given evidence as well. I think there has been a large part of evidence base. So from me, big thank you to everybody involved, and I think it is the best way, because to try to get value added out of scrutiny is very, very important, and I do appreciate everybody's effort on that. So thank you very much, and we will take it away and we will give the formal response once it's submitted. So thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, Robert and Di, for your feedback there. And I think it's important that, as a panel, I want to thank the panel members and also the staff, officers, and all the contributors, because it's quite an in-depth subject and has got some complexities involved in it. And we really appreciate people taking the time to come and support the panel's inquiry and to take it to the stage where we are now. Mark, is there anything you wanted to add from an officer perspective?
No, just to confirm the Cabinet members' comments, really, Chair, to say thank you for the report, and as Cabinet members have indicated, it'll be considered in due course, and we're happy to take forward any of the recommendations that the Cabinet wish to adopt. So nothing further to say than that, Chair.
Thank you. In terms of the report itself, this is really sort of the final opportunity to make or suggest any amendments, or to say it reflects what you feel the panel has covered. Are any panel members got any points or things that they wanted to raise, or any things that they feel may be missing or need amendment?
I personally don't think so, Chair. I've gone through it a few times, and there's nothing really to add to it. I think everybody's contributed well enough, and I think it reflects what we all thought. And the one problem I had is that it's got to be value for money, and we've got to have a secure footing to be able to agree that an asset can be transferred, and it says all that, so I'm quite happy with that.
Okay, thank you, Chris. Alan, you had your hand up.
Yes, am I coming through?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, just an observation, really, there, Chair. I was looking at the recommendations. I mean, those 14 recommendations are all fine, and they all seem to identify something that needs to be addressed. I was just looking at number 1, and it says you're ensuring the policies and procedures for managing community asset transfer. I was just wondering whether that second sentence is needed, because it's just a kind of comment where none of the others seem to have a kind of following statement, but the aspirations of the strategy for CAT seems unclear. I was just wondering whether that sentence could be dropped, really, because none of the others seem to be giving a reason for each of the other 13 recommendations.
Okay, I think the reason probably that was put in there, Alan, is because there was an existing policy, and the reason to revisit it is because people maybe believed that it needed to be widened or unclear. So I think it was a justification of why that's there to review.
I think, Chair, that on some occasions people felt it was confusing what the policy was and what it was about, and that's why that was put in.
Okay, how do other people feel about it? I think that's probably the justification of why we put it. That went in there, because it was unclear, because we already have a standing policy. We just need to put a reasoning behind why it needs to be reviewed.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm not. It just appeared to me to be a bit odd, that none of the others seem to have some kind of qualifying statement or a reason, but that one, it just seemed a little bit out of place to me. But I mean, I'm not, I wouldn't challenge it other than what I've said already. Yeah.
Okay. Are there any other areas you think that need maybe amendment or change? Is everyone happy for it to go forward to the cabinet in the format that it is now?
I think it reflects everything that we said in the committee, so yes.
Yeah.
Okay, great. The next step then will be Bridge. You can help me with this. It's I present it to the scrutiny board, don't I? First,
Programme committee, yeah, scrutiny programme committee on which is scheduled for the 19th of November. So you chair will have the opportunity to speak and present that to the committee, the wider committee. And the committee's role is there. You'd be asking the committee to basically endorse the submission of that report to cabinet, and assuming that that's all fine, we do have the report scheduled for cabinet meeting on the 12th of December. So that is when you again will have the opportunity to attend cabinet meeting and formally present to cabinet. And then if you want me to go on beyond that, usually it would be a sort of a period of around 2 months where cabinet will, the cabinet member will be tasked to respond and provide a report back to cabinet. So we'd probably be looking at, I don't know, February, March time, and then the panel will approximately 9 to 12 months after that, we'll get you together again. So we'll reconvene the panel, so you have the opportunity to consider the implementation of the agreed recommendations. So we're not quite finished. There's a bit of the process, the inquiry process to happen now. So just to make sure everyone's clear about that.
Okay, that's great. Thanks for clarifying that for us, Bridge. I suppose unless there's any other points or things that people wanted to raise, I just wanted to thank the panel members and the people who couldn't make it today as well. So the other panel members have all sort of worked quite hard and come up with lots of suggestions. And I think we've got quite a solid and good structured document to send through for the cabinet to consider. Yeah, I just want to say thank you to everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't think there's any other items on the agenda there, Bridge, is there?
Nope.
Okay, thank you very much for attending, and it was a very quick meeting.
Could I ask if Councillor Hawley could stay on? I want to have a quick word with him, if possible.
Okay, brilliant. And so we'll all leave now, but thanks everyone, and I'll speak to you soon. Okay, take care. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Take care.